Good morning, everyone. This is Brian Edner with your September 13th morning market commentary. Let's go back and cover some of the USDA numbers from yesterday. We'll start there. The most shocking number on the entire report was the USDA's estimate for corn yield. They came in at 181.3. A couple things to keep in mind about that number. It is 4.7 bushels over our all-time record. And if it sounds surprising to anyone watching this video, it was surprising to the entire market. Of all analyst estimates, that number came in 1.3 bushels over even the highest estimate. So pretty easy to say that number caught trade by a big surprise there, everyone in trade. The total carryout was not that large, actually. Carryout came in at 1.774. That's still the lowest stocks-to-use number in 5 years. The reason why carryout wasn't increased as much as you might think from the yield is because USDA increased demand in a number of ways. We'll start off by saying they increased old crop exports by 25 million bushels. They increased feed and residual by 50 million bushels. They increased ethanol by 25 million bushels. And they increased new crop exports by 50 million bushels. So all that demand increase did a good job of offsetting the much larger total production number that they gave us here yesterday. Yesterday, the December corn came within a half penny of contract lows and held. Total open interest on that big of a day where volume was almost 400,000 only changed by 5,812 contracts. Right off the bat, that small change in open interest says that while it was obvious very large selling, apparently there was a lot of new buyers willing to come in at contract lows. So we'll watch those contract lows, which are at 350 and a quarter, and we'll see if continued support is found there going forward. Over in beans, carryout was raised to 845. That was above the analyst 830 number. The reason why we found a bounce yesterday is while analysts were looking for 830, much of the trade talk amongst traders was maybe a number closer to 900. So the 845 carryout, while larger, didn't carry as much shock value as the corn yield number. So maybe we'll see generally calm trade even with that carryout increase. We also did see a new Chinese headline, which we haven't seen one of those in a while, that came out just before the report. The headline was saying the U.S. proposing new rounds of trade talks with China in the near future. That implies that U.S. is ready to come to the negotiating table here. And when it says in the near future, maybe we'll be seeing some more Chinese headlines here soon about trade talks, and we'll want to keep an open eye out for them. The forecast for harvest, 5 days are generally clear across the Midwest, and then rains come back in on the 6 to 10 day. So we'll see some active harvest pace over the next 5 days, which might slow down again next week. Over in wheat, the biggest surprise on the wheat number was that USDA raised Russian production of wheat by 3 million metric tons. After all the dryness, trade had pretty much assumed we'd be lowering all numbers overseas. So that came to a shock to the wheat market yesterday when USDA raised Russia by 3 million metric tons. We'll see after that shock value, maybe things will calm down here now after the report for wheat as well. Lastly, over in cattle, Packer bids were 108 yesterday. That did improve slightly. It implies a 109 trade. A 109 trade would be $1 higher than last week. We saw futures bounce from that. And again, the December cattle ran into tough times once it made it over 115. In fact, the cattle matched the 2-month traded high in December and ran into mighty strong resistance again and again failing to reach 116. So while the cash news again is positive for the cattle, we do need to keep in mind that December is still running into tough times in the 115s. You're finding plenty of sellers there in the futures market. So we'll see if we can finally touch a 116 this week, and we'll keep an eye out for any further improved bids. Again, right now 108 implies 109, and that would be $1 higher for the week. So that's our comments here for today on September 13th. You can reach us here at 800-551-4626 or reach us on the web at allendale-inc.com.